Powered by Riverside FM.
All right, so for this Browns Backers interview, please help me welcome our friends from about 40 minutes to the north-ish, the president of the Strongsville Browns Backers, Patti-Jo. Patti, thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm really excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. So it's always a good time to talk to Browns backers in general, but especially I really like talking to some of the ones that are around the Cleveland area, just because there's so many around the Cleveland area. It's wild that obviously that's where the team is, but there's just so many around the Cleveland area. So it's going to take we could do a full 3-4 seasons just on the Cleveland area ones. But Patti, tell us a little bit about your chapter.
Well, the Strongsville Browns Backers, it used to be in Strongsville many years ago, and then it kind of went away for a while. And it was about in the middle of last season that our watch location and I decided to bring it back. So we're a relatively new chapter. This is we finished one full year. Started late last season. This is our first full season as being a Browns Backer chapter. We have 161 members.
You're way ahead of a lot of other ones with just being a season in. So
yeah, and I'll tell you, there are a lot of Browns Backers chapters in the Cleveland area, but there's just that many Browns fans, right? It's not a competition. We really do work together and share resources and share ideas. But it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. And it's just a really great way to sort of structure that Browns viewing, because sometimes you just need to be with friends watching the game.
Yeah, you need a support group.
For sure.
So you mentioned that you started it back up at the old viewing location. What is your viewing location?
So we're at Mulligan's Bar and Grill. It's on the corner of Route 82 and Prospect Road in Strongsville. Mm-hmm. Our members, it's free to join our Browns Backers chapters. Different chapters structure things differently, but it's free to join. Anybody is welcome to come up, and if people just want to come up and watch a game with us, our raffles and our 50/50s are open to anybody at the bar. We do special things for our members as well, so it does pay to sign up.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned it's free to join. For anybody that doesn't know, if you go to brownsbackersworldwide.com, you could actually create a profile and you could sign up for as many different Browns Backers groups as you want to. So kind of, Patti-Jo, I'm not sure if you know this, but you got, if you haven't already, you will be getting 3 new members today. Because as we do these interviews, we like to join each group and support them in any way we can. So, you will be getting 3 new members. We've signed up to, I don't even know what we're up to now. There's
quite a few.
Several. So, so what kind of, I know Browns Backers groups in general, they're always doing some charity work or some community service. What are you guys involved with?
Yeah, so our charities this year was the Cleveland Browns Foundation to support youth sports and stay in the game education activities. We also supported the Berea Animal Rescue. So during the Browns-Bengals game, we did a dog food, cat food drive. So we kind of themed it out for the game day.
Nice.
And we had a couple of really nice autographed footballs that we were able to raffle off, and we gave the Paralyzed Veterans of America $1,000 just recently. Oh. We keep swear jars out on the tables for every game, which is a really great way to raise some money. And at the end of the season, all of that easy money, and all that easy money is going to go to the Strongsville Food Bank.
Awesome.
I think that's one of the best things about the Browns Backers in general, and just having that organized Browns, fan base. I know a lot of teams have their fan bases and, things like that, but the Browns really do a nice job of supporting us so that we can support our local charities. And that's true not just here in the Cleveland area, but across all, 390 sub-chapters worldwide.
Absolutely. And so, obviously you're doing a lot of good work for these charities. And a lot of that comes from your weekly viewings and raffles and those types of things. Are there any events coming up, either the rest of this season or even into next season, that you guys are going to be raising more money for?
Or in the off season.
Or in the off season, yeah.
We haven't planned the off season yet. We're still kind of new. We have 100. I mean, it's nice to have 161. But once we get, toward the end of this season, we'll get a committee together and see what the members want to do in the off season, right? Because it really is member driven as well. So I think we still need to have that conversation with our group and see what they want to do.
Throw out golf outing. It's always a popular one.
Yeah.
People love it.
It sounds like you're off to a really great start there. So best of luck to you guys playing the off season. Quick question, just in terms of this season. I guess obviously this isn't the year that we had hoped in terms of the success of the team. Have you seen crowds dwindle as the season's gone on, or are you still getting pretty good attendance for watch parties?
I think we get pretty good attendance, and what we do members door prizes. So we do have people sort of check in to get a ticket so that they can, get it into this free door prize for members. So we're getting anywhere, on average, between like 40 and 60 people per game.
Nice.
The first two games were huge, right? Everyone was so excited to start the season. We see it dwindle off on those Thursday night games and Monday night games, only because it's late. If people have to work, it's not I just don't think people feel like I'm compelled to come out there and, stay out late on a work night or school night or things like that. But we have a group of at least 20, 25 who will be out no matter what. We're expecting a big crowd for this Sunday.
Yeah, I'm sure Browns fans will be out in droves, especially since obviously the last time we played the Steelers, we won. So,
yes.
Good vibes.
Yeah, but no, I mean that's everything, all great things. And I have a question for you. This is more for you personally. Obviously, you're in Strongsville, so it may be an easy answer. But how exactly did you become a Browns fan?
Well, I grew up on the east side of Cleveland, so I've always lived in Northeast Ohio. And I think that if you're born here, you just are. Like I think it just happens somewhere in like toddlerhood. You just become a Browns fan. My dad, when I was little, he had season tickets for most of my childhood, and that was always really special when some of his friends couldn't go, and I would, get to go with them to the old Muni Stadium. We'd take the it was a huge production, right? You take the Rapid down, you got to stop and get your sub sandwiches. It was a lot of really fun, positive memories. And I did it to my children and to my granddaughter. Like, we're going to the Browns games because I'm going to make you a Browns fan too. You're not leaving me alone in this, people.
That's how it happens. We're all just we're born into it. And I have, I know we, both of us have young children right now. And now my daughter, who's 2, always knows when the orange helmets come on the screen, it's "Let's go Browns." So
yeah,
she's already been brainwashed, and she's set up for a life of misery. So
yeah. I'll tell you what. If I could just quickly add something, it was really interesting because my son was born when there were no Browns, right? So during those couple of years. That's when that's when he showed up in my life. And I think there's a time there where a lot of, he was a child, so he didn't really know much of anything. But, if you were a elementary school age kid or something like that, and there were no Browns, if your family was not just a dedicated Browns fan when there weren't the Browns, it was easy for someone to, take a look at whoever was hot at the time,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny. I find that most people in the area that aren't Browns fans, that's the time frame they were typically either born or first getting into football, at least.
The unfortunate thing is a lot of them gravitated towards Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, with that, I want to get into the football side of things a little bit here. Obviously,
I got one real quick other question.
You go.
You mentioned going to the games when you were little. Did you ever go to any very cold snow games when you were little? So we had this debate last week on the show about whether or not that was a good thing or not.
I remember going down when it was really cold because I just remember all these blankets being put on top of me, and I had to wear newspapers in my shoes, and and like those Wonder bread bags around my, all that on my feet and everything. But I don't remember like going down there when it was that kind of lake effect snow.
See, that's what I was kind of coming. I was like, I think you remember that as a kid, like putting the newspapers in your shoes and
listen. The experience that I came from is I actually didn't. I went to a colder game, but mine wasn't terrible. My brother went to a snow game, a Buffalo Bills game with my mom, and he was begging her to leave by halftime. He was like, I don't want to be here. So just saying, like, I don't know if it's good for kids. I don't know. Who's to say? But
yeah.
No. So on to the football side of things here. What are your thoughts about this season so far? Obviously, we all know that the season hasn't gone the way that we all envisioned. But are there any takeaways you have, just as whether it's positive, negative, whatever the case may be, as we finish out this year and going into next year? Do you have any thoughts on the Cleveland Browns?
It just seems like we have so much talent on that team, right? There's so many individual players that are just so talented in the game, and it just feels clunky, right? And it's not even always the same clunkiness. You can't just keep pinning it on one person and saying, I think, you listen to anybody, I think we've tried to fire everybody 10 times over every single game, but that's not even it. You look at the past couple of games, and I think Jameis has done something with the team to make them a little bit more connected and less clunky. And I see, if maybe this is the rebuilding year and we're watching it happen in front of our eyes, because it didn't happen at training camps or anything like that. Maybe we're watching them gel right now in real time. They've showed us that they can play really good football.
Yeah. And I think that's been the most frustrating thing for us is especially, and I know we've talked at length about it, so I won't take over this whole segment with this again, but just the fact that the whole first part of the season we were told that Deshaun Watson gives us the best chance to win, and then you see a quarterback like Jameis come out and throw over 500 yards, and you're like, well really? Because
to Patty's point, this team looks like an entirely different football team under Jameis. Yeah. They look like A, they're having fun, and B, they're playing for him and for this team again. It's just a whole just sea change in the way this team looks every week.
Yeah. Judy is doing fantastic. I still think Chubb he still is working on getting to his, full strength, but he's getting better. The line needs to create more routes for him, but that's an offense kind of issue in general. Yep.
No, and yeah, it's still yet to be seen if he even can get back to that. You talked about it this week, Kenny. Is the reality is it's an unfortunate reality, but the reality is he's had 2 major reconstructive surgeries to the same knee, and now he's approaching 30, and it's like you start to wonder if he could ever get back there. We all love Nick Chubb. He's my favorite Cleveland Brown that ever put on the uniform, but that's a tough thing to do.
We'd like to think if anybody could do it, Nick Chubb can.
Right.
But yeah, it's yet to be seen. So
yeah, and so all good, all valid points for this year's team and kind of what's been going on. What are your thoughts on the game coming up against the Steelers this weekend?
Well, I really hope that Jameis is continuing to pray for being delivered from his pick sixes, because if you look at the statistics from the past couple of games, if you don't know about the pick sixes and that final fourth quarter interception, you would be surprised that we didn't win. We're putting up really good yards. Our stats are better than some of the stats from the Steelers. We have to have a better running game, and I think we have to get better at third down conversions. That seems to be our Achilles heel. If we can't get past that third down, it really sets us back. We just need to get those conversions in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sustaining drives is like key to everything, and when you can't, it hurts.
I would even say, even with the pick sixes and that stat lineup, I mean, the game was incredible. I mean, there were 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, I still am scratching my head. I mean, even knowing he threw the pick sixes, I mean, he played phenomenal in those couple of throws. So,
yeah. And so, I mean, all that being said, what's your score prediction? And don't try and say you don't give score predictions. We don't accept that. So you got to give us a score prediction for the game this week.
Great. Browns 21, Steelers 18. It's going to be close.
Whew. You think we sweep the Steelers this year?
Well, listen, isn't it? We have to do it sometime. Why not this year?
That's true. Well, I mean, I don't know if we agree with you, but I like where your head's at. I like the optimism.
I'd love to see him sweep them.
But
as a Browns Backer president, I think I'm contractually obligated.
You're not. We had one pick against the Browns once, and I think he was right.
Yeah.
So
I tell my members that I have unrealistic optimism, and I will always be in favor of the Browns, and they can always argue with me about it.
I'll be honest with you. You're a Browns Backers president. You kind of have to have unrealistic.
I think as
optimism.
Browns fans, we have
unrealistic optimism every year, every single year. But listen, Patti-Jo, it's been awesome talking to you. We really appreciate it. We appreciate your time, and we hope to get up there to Strongsville for one of your watch parties and meet you soon.
That'd be fantastic. I'd love to have you up there.
All right, thanks for being on.
So much.
Thank you. We're the Strongsville Browns Backers, and you're listening to the Burning River Sportscast. Go Browns!